You brought Gavin here.
Yes.
What do you want Gavin to get into?
Well, I'd like, Gavin, why don't you tell us about how you found out about the slavery and what our youth group is planning on doing about the issue?
Jim was teaching our Sunday school class for our youth group one Sunday, and he showed a video Dateline had on when they covered slavery in Sudan. And some of us were just like so moved, and we felt so bad about what was going on, the families being split apart, all the deaths, people losing their children, they can't get them back. It's just like it was really horrible. And so Jim kind of challenged us to try to get out there and do something about it, collect petitions, money, and we're just going to try to get involved and see if we can make some noise. So.
Aren't there some students out in Denver that got involved in this issue also, Gavin, and went out and actually raised a lot of money? Because apparently the troops from the north don't get paid by the government, so they think it's their right to capture people, kill the husbands, sell the women into slavery as booty, as a prize. This belongs to me, and it's like $50 or $100. You can actually buy a slave's freedom.
Right.
What did some students do out in Denver?
There was a 5th grade class out in Denver that the teacher showed them a video about, just like what we'd seen, and they felt the same way about it, and they said, "Oh, how could this be going on? This is so horrible, you know." And they went out there and they raised money, and they were able to free a whole bunch of slaves. Can't remember the number, and so it just shows you that, I mean, a few kids that feel really strongly about this can really get out there and they can really make a difference in those people's lives because they really need it right now.
Jim, I heard one of the stories that there was a young person who was putting away money to buy a car. He had a down payment, something close to $4,000. And he said, wait a minute, I can always get a car, I can always find a used car to fix that, but you don't have an opportunity to reach out and free somebody from that miserable condition of having your family destroyed, your spouse possibly being killed, and then coming back out of slavery. There is a group which I want to talk about in a minute because we're going to take a break in a minute or so, that you're now the New York director of the American Anti-Slavery Group. Did you ever think, we thought the issue was dead, although there's difficulties, there is such an organization?
Yes, there is. It started 6 years ago.
Called the American Anti-Slavery Group.
Right. Dr. Charles Jacobs found out about this issue, and he and a Sudanese gentleman wrote an op-ed piece in the New York Times. It was printed in '94, and that kind of helped break the news about the slavery issue. And he's been going around speaking all across the country, educating people about the slavery. And now he's helped create a wave of support. And like I said, I believe that this year it's going to be big. I mean, this is documented by Dateline, by the Baltimore Sun, by the State Department. So this stuff isn't made up. It's actually happening. And Dateline did a great piece in '96.
We're going to go through this twice. There is an 800 number if somebody wanted to call. 800-884-0719. Right?
Yes, there's an 800 number. If you call up, they'll send you an information packet. And we are collecting petitions. They'll also send you a petition if you want to take it to your church or to your union or to any group that you belong to. You can get people to sign it and send it into the American Anti-Slavery Group. We're handing the petitions into President Clinton and to Kofi Annan of the United Nations.
All right, I just want to pause now. Gavin, thank you for coming. I'd like to pause briefly for this message. Please stay tuned because we're going to meet another student who's actively involved in trying to stop slavery occurring in our world. Thank you for watching this message, and we'll be right back.
That's all over. That wasn't too bad, now was it?
Thank you for watching that message, and remember to look into your yellow pages if you are dealing with a unplanned pregnancy or are concerned about an aftermath of having gone through an abortion. There are plenty pregnancy aid centers that you will find in your telephone book. We've been talking with Pastor Jim Geist, who's involved in the American Anti-Slavery Group. It's located up in Massachusetts. Most of us believe that slavery was no longer a problem in the world. Maybe something might happen with a bonded servant, but there couldn't be thousands of people involved, families being ripped up, religious persecution going on. That's why we brought Jim Geist back to our set to discuss this. But before we took the break, we were discussing a little bit about the school children out in Denver. There was something more you wanted to add?
Yeah, I just wanted to say, once they found out about the slavery, they collected pennies, nickels, quarters. They collected $200. They were able to redeem 2 slaves. The Denver paper covered it. The people of Denver were so moved, they sent in $10,000. It made the international news. People were so moved, they collected $50,000. So it's just like the story in the scriptures of the young boy with the 2 loaves and the fish. And it was able to feed everyone. So they were able to encourage, cause international waves, and to help redeem all these slaves. Now, our youth group is doing the same thing. No one in New York City has done this yet. 50 schools across the country are doing this presently. I also have a group in the Bronx, in Manhattan, and in northern New Jersey who are doing the same thing. And what we're going to do is make copies of the petition, invite our representative to come to the church, and the children will hand the petition over to our congresspeople, and we will help create media publicity so more people find out about the slavery issue.
Some people may have been watching the program all the way through and have noticed all of a sudden possibly a guest has changed. And this is Salome?
Yes.
Or Salome?
Salome.
Salome. Salome, what brought you to feeling you had to do something about this?
When I saw the tape, it was so horrible when I saw those kids just sitting there like food and being sold, like nothing, It was just it was so terrible to watch that I just wanted to do something about it.
When you said the actual tape shows children being
Yes,
auctioned off
yes.
as property.
They had children sitting on the floor, and there were a bunch of people walking down, and if you wanted to buy food, and there were slaves right next to food, as if there were things, and it was horrible.
And so what are you going to do?
I collected petitions. I collected about 40 petitions so far, and I'm going to try to collect as much money as I can, and try to make a difference.
You say try to make a difference. I think just being willing to do something, starting with prayer and starting with petitions,
Yeah.
also letting the people in the neighborhood know that this is happening. People don't realize. I think, as Jim points out, that we hear about Kosovo, or we'll hear about a problem in South Africa, or we'll hear about a mosque being raided, and there's a shooting that maybe occurs in Israel, and then a bomb explosion. But the figure in the Sudan is 1.5 million people have been killed just
and another 2.5 million right now are in danger of starvation. The troops from the north come south. They kill all the men in the village. They take the women and the girls and sell them into slavery, either as domestic help to work with the cattle or as sexual concubines. The young boys they take to what are called peace camps. They're Islamic retraining camps. The boys are given a Muslim name. They're forced to memorize the Quran. If they try to escape, they're chained, or they have their Achilles tendons cut so they can't run away anymore. Also in the south, they purposely are withholding food. And this is another thing. This is why we're writing to Kofi Annan. Do you realize that Sudan has the right to veto any food relief to the south? So if someone proposes, let's send food to the south, to the 2.5 million people who are starving, they can say no, and that's it. The food doesn't go there. They'll go into villages with food and say, would you like food? Well, of course they want food. They're starving to death. Okay, convert to Islam and you can have food. So your choice is convert to Islam, get food, or say no and starve to death. This is what's going on in the Sudan right now.
And we've had current legislation now being proposed on the federal level. Congressman Payne has introduced a resolution. He is from New Jersey, represents the Newark area. We tried to meet with him in Washington yesterday, but there was, shall we say, too large of a crowd, and we couldn't do it because he was at a dinner that we were at. What is his resolution doing?
What the resolution does, several things. First of all, it calls for an end to chattel slavery in the Sudan. There's still tens of thousands of slaves in the Sudan, also in Mauritania. Secondly, it would ask that international troops go down south and protect these villages from continued raids. The troops will go on the train, go down south, and then take their slaves and the booty. Also, they're asking that the Sudanese government give reparations to these people who've served as slaves, that they get some form of payment. Also, he's asking that Representative Benjamin Gilman of the House International Relations Committee bring up legislation. A resolution is nice, but we need some legislation that has teeth in it to put pressure on the Sudanese government to deal with this.
And
I'd also like to encourage people, call up Congressman Payne and say thank you. Thank you for taking a stand on this issue. You know, a lot of African Americans are afraid to speak in this issue. Just for example, Jesse Jackson. The reason he won't speak out on this, he doesn't want to be seen as anti-Arab. He doesn't want to be seen as anti-Muslim. Now, I am sympathetic to people who are Arab or Muslim because I know they face discrimination in this country. And you know what? Most Muslims live a more holy life than most Christians do, very dedicated to their faith and to God. Now, just because you're Muslim, does that mean you're a terrorist? No. We need to fight that stereotype. But the other thing is that it hurts their credibility. The Council on Arab American Relations just had a meeting last Monday down in Washington, D.C. The issue of slavery came up. Their official response, there is no slavery in the Sudan. Now, this is documented. All it does is hurt their credibility by saying that no slavery is taking place. Now, if they wanted to say, slavery is going on, it's our issue, it's a cultural issue, don't stick your nose in our business, I would respect that. I would disagree with them, but I would respect it instead of saying that slavery is not taking place. And also, I don't think they're serious about interreligious dialogue, because a friend of mine, Faith McDonald, from the Institute on Religion and Democracy, took 10 Sudanese Christians there to have interfaith dialogue. They would not allow them to speak. So this is the situation.
most of us have a memory of seeing film clips of the Tutsi, Hutus, and people floating down the river and whatnot, and the world community kind of said, well, we didn't respond well in that situation. As a matter of fact, I think there were UN troops there, and they just kind of gently pulled out.
They pulled them out.
Pulled them out and just let the bloodshed go ahead. Is that likely to happen now? You know, is there going to be? There is a civil war going on.
We don't even have anyone over there right now, so that's why the bloodshed is taking place. But President Clinton in '93, when the Holocaust Museum was dedicated in Washington, said, "Never again, never again." He said, "Wherever genocide takes place, we must intervene." The next year, the Rwandan crisis happened. 10 to 12,000 people killed every day. 500,000 people were killed in Rwanda. Well, you know why we didn't intervene? Because the year before, in Somalia, our troops were dragged in the streets. And so he didn't want to see that happen again. So what he said was, we didn't know what was going on. Last year, when he went to Africa, he apologized to the Rwandans and said, "I'm sorry, I apologize. We didn't know what was going on." Not true. They knew what was going on in Rwanda, but he chose not to intervene. So the other thing is, on December 10th of '98, which was the 50th anniversary of the Declaration of Human Rights, the president said that our administration for the next 2 years will focus on child labor and on places of potential genocide. He didn't say places of genocide, places of potential genocide. By saying that, he's able to get around the Sudan. So, by this petition drive, we are going to force the United Nations and the president to address the issue and to do the right thing.
Salome, is this the way he always is?
Yes.
I mean, once he starts, he doesn't stop? So how do you get involved with trying to say, okay, we got the message, and then how do you get to talk to him?
We let him finish, and then
You let him finish?
yeah, and then
And then you act.
yes, we try.
Do your parents feel the same way that you do as you bring the story home?
I brought the story home, and then I spoke to my parents about it, and my parents encouraged me, and then I went to school. And it was really hard for me because the kids, they kept arguing with me that it wasn't true. And I had to prove to them constantly that it is true, it is written, it is in the papers, you know, read the papers. So finally, after I proved it to the kids, finally I got the petitions, and then I got my teacher to sign it, so that was a really big progress for me. So now I'm trying to talk to my teacher, so maybe she'll show the tape to the class.
Well, I just want to finish with Jem for a minute, but Salome and Gaiman, I want to thank both of you because, see, you're our hope. Because if you'll get motivated and you'll get involved, it kind of forces more people to say, if the younger people will take it seriously, because we saw the films, we saw the bodies floating down, but what did we do about it? We don't care. There is not that respect for each and every human being, as I know Jim does. He doesn't care, Arab, Muslim, whatnot. He's a committed man, he's a servant of Christ, but at the same time you respect each and every person.
That's right.
Is this, however, knowing that we have a president in which, we don't have a lot of believability in, can we really do something? And we've got about a minute to go, Jim. Can this really be done? Can we stop what's happening in the Sudan?
Well, listen, I'm telling you, if the New York Times said that the Spectre Wolf bill was dead and we passed it unanimously, we can do the same thing with this. And I'm very encouraged because school children are speaking out on this issue, and we will shame our congresspeople and the president if he does not intervene with this. And so I'd like to encourage congregations to call up the 800 number. A book has just come out today called Silent Terror, written by Samuel Cotton. You can get it at Barnes & Nobles, or you can call up the Anti-American Slavery Group. It's for $19, and educate yourself. Also, we will do a teaching forum. If you call us up, I will come and speak or send someone to your church.
Jim, thank you very much for
Thanks,
coming.
John.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
The American Anti-Slavery Group, 1-800-884-0719. You are your brother's keeper. Get involved. Thank you so much for watching Frontline Focus. God bless you, and see you next time.
Jesus answered, I am the way, the truth, and the